Welcome. The purpose of this video tutorial is to demonstrate how AdverGroup can achieve real estate component functionality utilizing Joomla. In order to demonstrate this, we have installed the functionality on our AdverGroup website, which can be found under the Web Design tab under Real Estate Web Design. Here we will click on Property Listings. In the Property Listings section, you can see how properties appear within this category. We can set different menus to bring us within different categories. For example, this category is an item that is for sale. I could easily set a category in a menu item that would be properties sold or properties in disposition, etc. However, here we are in current active properties for sale. Here you can see what the properties look like as they have been entered into the system. When we look at them in this view, we're looking at them in the category mode. By clicking on View Details, we could look a little further in depth. Other tabs here would show us if we had additional photos that would be lined up here. We have a Request for Info tab, which would allow them to enter their contact information. This email would then be sent to the agent that has been coded into this particular property. We also have a Map and Nearby tab, which maps the location nicely per the coordinates. We also have a Download Brochure section here, which we will modify so that it is only available to registered users, and it will be linked into a stats program. It does not come out of the box with that functionality. However, I have spoken to this developer about achieving that special functionality. Here also you can see we have share buttons. We can share on Twitter or Facebook. We can email this to a friend. You can see that you have the ability to enter your name, your email, and other emails that you may want to forward this to. You can also print the item. Here we have the property description. Down below we would have agent information, as we are also allowed to have different agents entered into the system. So now here we're going to go back to the properties and we're going to look at them again. We'll look at another property that we've entered in here. You can see a demonstration of how more than one image can be entered in. Here you also see additional content. When we get into the back end here of editing this property, you'll notice how all of this data is propagated. We also have a handy search component here out to the side where we can set the value of the listing range we would like to look within. We can also set the square footage dimensions and as well as other criteria that we can search by. All of this is fully customizable and we can enter anything that you wish to have entered there. Okay, so now we've seen what this looks like to the front end by somebody who's shopping for these properties. Let's look at what it looks like to a manager or somebody like Ashley or Chad that might be managing these properties and updating them. From the front end, we could update the listings. This is a dashboard of the listing components. This is only viewable by agents or administrators on the front end. I'm just showing it to you through the front end for ease of use here. But if you were a content manager using the Joomla system, I would always ask that you would use the back end of the website, and here's a demonstration of what the back end looks like. This again is the content management system, which is not viewable by front end users. Here we would go by the components to the FW real estate component, and here you can see very similar to what it looks like on the front end to your users. However, this front end doesn't give you all the options that you would have in the back end as an admin. And that would be linking this to the stats program and other items. So real content management should be done through the back end system. So now we're going to open up this property and we're going to look at the details and how easy it is to update this property. Here you can see we have all the different tabs. We have a common information where we can enter the property title, the category, the lease term. We could also add new values. We could say this property is available to this date from this date. We could enter price, street, zip, country, state, city, MLS code. Here you can see what the map looks like. We also have the ability to feature this property, as we'll have other modules on the front end that will show featured properties, and we can then also select different agents that we might have into the system. We could also set the custom email content per property, as I described before. One other special thing here is that we can set meta tagging, descriptions, and keywords specific to these properties. This is a perfect example of how Joomla offers SEO built into the core functionality of its system. The next tab here is the property description. Here we have a short description and we have a long description. The short description is going to show up on the category page. If you wanted to get more in depth on the actual listing page, we could add more information here. You can see we have a nice WordPad editor, very easy to edit and update and provide additional links and so forth. Then we get into the detailed information tab. Here we can enter the lot size, we can enter the dimension, the unit of the dimensions. Are we in feet? Are we in acres? Is the project active? Is it under contract? Is it sold? We can also add a value, disposition perhaps. Here we can have a number of other items that we could enter in and modify and add values to. Number of parking spaces, the year built, air conditioning, heating systems. Over here, amenities. We can list and we can check off any of these amenities, and this then will reflect on the front end. We could also add custom amenities as well. Within the media tab, we could add images here. If we had more than one image, we can select which image is our default image. Here you can see we could add the link to the PDF. Here we can upload videos. Valuation, another important tab. Here we can set premium, cost of a possible rehab, fair market value. If there is work to be done, we can set the scope of work here. We could also add value. Annual expenses, perhaps if there's property management expenses, gross rental income, annual taxes, and capitalization rate. Any of these fields can be reflected on the front end of the listing page. As I noticed on the Quantum website, it was important to you to put that capitalization rate first and up in the forefront. So we see that is an option here, and we can carry that value anywhere forward. We also have an investment profile for each of the properties. We can set the category. We can add a new investment category. Is it rent to own? Is it rehab? Is it a foreclosure? Also financing. You can set different financing options, and you can also add additional financing options. To achieve stats, I've already communicated with the developer of this component, which has developed content statistics for Joomla. They boast the fact that they provide really cool activity logs, evolution charts, comparison charts, bar charts. They have many components they've already developed this for. Unfortunately, this item that we are looking at, they do not have a stats program developed. However, in communicating with them, they stated that it can be done at a fairly reasonable price in the $300 to $500 range. So clicking through here, you can see how we'll be able to see anybody who downloads any documents. We'll be able to click here and hit PDFs, and it'll show us anybody who's downloaded the PDFs. By selecting this item, again, it'll be custom developed so that we'll be able to look at the FW real estate, and in doing so, it'll show us how many times an item was viewed, who viewed it, and between what date ranges. Additionally, content statistics, as I just mentioned, create some really cool graphs and charts, and you can see an example of the various charts that we can see relevant to those download reports. In addition to tracking the downloads of the PDFs, it's very likely we'll be able to provide reports as to how many times a property was clicked on, how long users viewed it, that sort of thing. So in regards to stats, the depth of what we wish to be able to communicate in the charts is going to be basically up to us, and we can then communicate to this developer and they will assist us in achieving it. In closing, this was a demonstration of the real estate component for Joomla, which we can modify to only allow offering or PDF downloads to registered users. Additionally, we will be able to provide statistics relevant to front-end user activity in viewing these properties and downloading these brochures.